Afternoon everybody, Sir Bolt here, back from the Transformers review. I was faffing around trying to figure out which review to do next, because I couldn't make up my mind whether I wanted to do my Regaltex, whether I wanted to do Cybertron Prime, or whether I wanted to do Skybite, and then my eyes just happened to fall upon this fella, Lazerbeak. And I thought, yes, Lazerbeak, perfect, review time, hey! Oh, by the way, if anybody knows where online I can find Skybite instructions, can they please message me a link, because I cannot find it for the life of me. No way, I cannot find it for the life of me. Right, Lazerbeak first shows up in More Than Meets the Eye, and on Cybertron he's still a cassette. His alt mode is still a cassette, but his robot mode, he looks rather like a frisbee, with a bit of a mound and a pokey out nose, but he still looks remarkably like a frisbee, and he still transforms into a cassette. Though, seeing as Soundwave transforms into something like that looks remarkably like a lamppost, go figure. I suppose it's because Soundwave's robot mode still looks identical to what he transforms into when he's on Earth. But there we go. Soundwave is Lazerbeak is the Decepticons' infiltration unit. He's their spy, along with Ravage, and Lazerbeak is very, very good at his job. Very good at his job. It is Lazerbeak that discovers Prime's plan to take the Ark to look for Energon, not necessarily go to Earth. That's just where they happen to end up. And it is Lazerbeak that reports this back to Megatron. And then, of course, it is also Lazerbeak that discovers Prime's Energon run to Earth in the movie and reports that back to Megatron. Lazerbeak is regarded as being very loyal to Soundwave, and then again through that loyal to Megatron. When Lazerbeak gets to Earth, when Teletran 1 revives the Transformers, Lazerbeak is reconfigured into this bird, which, though bearing, I suppose, somewhat a resemblance to an eagle, is actually supposed to be a condor. Now, seeing as the Ark crashed into Mount St. Helens, which is in Oregon, where Teletran 1 found a condor from, I don't know. I mean, I'm not very good at my US geography, so I don't really know how far the state of Oregon is from South America. Saying nothing. Lazerbeak doesn't have a personality as such. The only thing that's really said about Lazerbeak is that he's very cowardly. He's very cowardly. He won't attack anybody head on, which, considering the fact that he's a cassette that transforms into a little birdie, it's not much of a surprise. Lazerbeak was originally supposed to be called something along like Slazar or Slazer, S-L-A-Z-E-R. But his name was changed, and his name is due to the two little laser cannons on his back, which of course operate independently from each other. As when Lazerbeak's chasing Cliffjumper and Hound. Cliffjumper says something very intelligent, like "Let's split up. He can't follow both of us." Lazerbeak promptly disengages one of his rocket pods, and it chases after Cliffjumper. Lazerbeak's very prolific throughout Series 1 and 2. He's there quite a lot, and he's used quite a lot. Even at one time being able to disable Prime so that Megatron can make a copy of him. After Season 2, well, after the movie, Lazerbeak's not really seen an awful lot again. There's two reasons for this. One, because a lot of the episodes take place on other planets or in space, Ratbat's more suitable for that, because Ratbat can fly through space, and he can hide in dark holes where Lazerbeak can't. Two, the toy of Lazerbeak was off the shelves, and Ratbat was on the shelves. There we go. Hasbro once again showing they don't make a cartoon, they make an infomercial. He's rarely seen again in Season 3. I think his last appearance is in Webworld. And then after that, he doesn't really come into it. He pops in and out of the Takara Headmasters version. In the Marvel comics, Lazerbeak is considered to be one of the 10 Transformers. Well, he's one of the 10 Transformers that come to Earth. And he flims and flars around, and he doesn't really do a lot, which is unusual, seeing as where the comics are concerned, they usually have quite heavy, intense storylines for the major characters. Laserbeak doesn't really have one, because even though Laserbeak shows up quite a lot in the cartoons, he doesn't really do a lot in the comics. But I suppose it's because I imagine it's rather hard to write a storyline for a robot chicken, without, of course, references to the current robot chicken. I know he's not really a chicken, but there we go. It's a good pun. He has made appearances later on, and most currently he's in chronological order. He's in the Origins of Megatron, where he's already attached to Soundwave. It would appear that Laserbeak meets his end in the Escalation comics, where after Mount St. Helens blows up, Laserbeak's deactivated body is found by Skywatch. He's revived and imprisoned. Hasbro went and lost the rights to the name Laserbeak, and as such he doesn't appear again. He was scheduled to appear in Beast Wars as just a recolor of Pterosaur, but he doesn't. It's not until Energon, admittedly Laserbeak in Beast Wars does eventually get a toy, but he's not in the cartoon. Laserbeak does eventually reappear as himself in Energon, where he's gone from being Laserbeak to Laserbeak. So it's L-A-S-E-R instead of L-A-Z-E-R. And he's not a condor in this. Oh, no. He looks rather a bit like a canary. As in he's a yellow video camera that can also transform and fly, and forms a stun gun. And he's made by Red Alert for the human kids. His next appearance is in Cybertron, and again he's attached to Soundwave, and Cybertron is Soundwave's first appearance since the G1 cartoons. He's never been in since, and this is him in Soundwave in Cybertron. And apparently he transforms into a bomb. Me personally, I think he looks like an oil drum. There we go. This is quite a little funky little toy. Has more of an eagle-esque look to him, I think, or a hawk look to him, especially where the head is concerned, than more of a condor. Okay, now onto the toy itself. Laserbeak is part of the old Japanese Microman range. I think it was called Microman. And where the toys in the cartoons were concerned, this is where one of the theories for mass shifting comes in. It was written for things like Laserbeak, Soundwave, where mass shifting was introduced to explain how these 25-foot robots transform into handheld tape decks. For a proper explanation on mass shifting, check either Wiki or check various Transformers forums. I'm sure they'll explain mass shifting to you. As far as I know, and I'm fairly sure this is correct, mass shifting is basically they put part of themselves in subspace, which is how they're able to shrink themselves down so much. Laserbeak transforms thus. You take off the back parts. You push the head in. I'm just giving you a rough guide here. You push the head in. It's not rocket science. You fold the wings in, and you fold the legs up, and they should just snap into place. There we go. And there you have Laserbeak transformed into a cassette. Laserbeak wasn't marketed with the original Soundwave, despite the fact that in the cartoons Laserbeak was the more prolific of the two. Soundwave came packaged originally with Buzzsaw, which is basically Laserbeak with a different colour scheme. Laserbeak was sold separately. Now I've bought this Laserbeak from the Classics range of it's the Classics range, the Toys R Us exclusive Soundwave, where it's a reissue of Soundwave, looks virtually identical and is pretty much virtually identical, apart from the tape deck bit actually holds two cassettes, which is rather convenient, seeing as of course the Classics reissue comes with two cassettes, Laserbeak and Ravage. Now Laserbeak in his robot mode looks pretty nifty. You know, he's a pretty nifty transformer. He looks really nice. They really did a good job with transforming a taped cassette into a bird. Ravage, on the other hand, I've taken up his side missile launcher just so I can show you. Looks quite nice from this angle. You know? Pretty nifty from this angle, yes? However, if you look at him frontways, he looks like Wile E. Coyote after he's been hit by a boulder. No, he's rather flat. But I suppose if anyone from Takara who designed these toys is watching this, he'd probably be turning around and saying something along the lines of, "We gave you a tape cassette that transforms into a cat. What more do you want?" No, so, you know, it's a nice little toy, but Laserbeak is, as I said, on the other hand, much nicer, much nicer. As is Buzzsaw. If you don't want to pay, oh god, that started to rain heavy. If you don't want to pay the rather expensive Soundwave reissue, because I now have two Soundwaves, so I've got the original one as well, and I was actually going to throw away my original Soundwave or put it back on eBay until I realised that it's actually different. One thing I have found as well on eBay is that there is a Chinese company that is currently shoving out knockoffs of Transformers. It's where I got my. It's the same company, I believe, that actually made my Swoop, which, as I said in my Dynamo video, is a knockoff. And these knockoffs are actually pretty good. They've done a Mirage, which I've seen on eBay, though it was $100, and I'm not paying $100 for Mirage, especially when my G1 original Mirage came in at less than 50 quid. So, no, sorry, less than 25 quid. And apparently these knockoffs of the cassettes are very good, so I might pick up some of the others if I have problems finding some of the rarer ones, because I think Ratbat's quite a hard one to find. So if you want to get the knockoffs, then go ahead. I have heard they're quite good. Me, I'd rather stick with, at the most, reissues. But as I said, I did cheat a bit where Swoop was concerned, but there we go. But yes, a very nice toy. To find the G1 version on eBay, you better be careful from now on, because if these knockoff reissues are as good as they say they are, then you're going to get a lot of sellers that are going to try and rip you off. Because if they're so hard to tell apart, which, going by the Swoop, the one that I've got, is very true, to tell apart from their originals, you're going to get people selling them off as fakes. But the original G1 Laserbeak probably won't set you back much more than a tenner. But if you can get him, then do get him, because he's such a nice little toy. He really is a nice little toy. My girlfriend hasn't seen him just yet, but I imagine she'll go, "Oh, he's so cute." But anyway, yes, a nice toy, and a pretty cool character for the cartoons. You know, he's one of the most instantly recognisable of the G1 Decepticons. But yes, for now I'm going to sign off. This is Silverbolt with Laserbeak signing off, saying au revoir, adios, auf Wiedersehen.